Ukraine's President Zelensky will be meeting with President Donald Trump at Palm Beach in Florida on Sunday to discuss the latest peace proposals aimed at ending the war with Russia. The European and NATO leaders have expressed their full support for Ukraine ahead of this crucial meeting, with the Ukrainian leader consulting with allies during a stop-off in Canada on his way to Florida. Vladimir Putin said Russia will achieve its goals by force if the Ukrainians refuse to relent. He said there are smart people, his words, in the West that have been encouraging Ukraine to negotiate an end to the war. But Kyiv had been reluctant, he said, to do so. President Zelensky says the relentless Russian attacks over the Christmas period prove the Kremlin is not really serious about peace. Let's go live to Kyiv and speak to our correspondent Abdul Abdurasulov. It's good to see you. What do we think will be discussed at this meeting later today?
Well, on a plane, President Zelensky outlined some of the issues that he's going to discuss during the meeting with President Trump. One of them is, of course, the issue of territory, which has proven to be one of the most contentious and difficult ones to agree. Russia wants Ukrainian troops to withdraw from Lugansk and Donetsk regions in the east, and Ukraine says that this is not acceptable for Kyiv, and they want to keep their positions, the current positions, and the United States offered a compromise. They're saying that there will be a demilitarized zone, and Ukraine hinted that this could be accepted, but it has to be decided by the people of Ukraine via referendum. And President Zelensky says that other issues will be discussed as well, and one of them is the security guarantees from the US. Ukraine wants legally binding security guarantees from the US to ensure that Russia will not continue its aggression in the future. And also, as part of this package of security guarantees, Ukraine wants not just security guarantees from the US, but also from European allies. And Ukraine wants to be a member of the European Union as part of this package as well. But crucially, Ukraine wants to clarify the timing and sequencing of events once the agreement is signed. They want to make sure that there is a certain understanding what comes first and what comes next, whether the withdrawal will happen before any elections or once the ceasefire regime is announced. These activities by both sides will reflect each other's measures. And Kyiv says that the latest attacks just show that Russia is not keen in stopping the war. It just shows that Russia wants to continue their aggression. And just yesterday, they launched more than 500 drones and 40 missiles targeting residential buildings and also energy facilities. And Kyiv accuses Russia, saying that they want to weaponize the weather because it's really cold now in Ukraine. The temperatures dropped below zero. And following the attacks yesterday, about 40% of the residents in Kyiv were left without heating, and there are still regular power cuts across the country. So Russia is attacking these energy facilities in order to increase the pressure on the leadership of Ukraine so that they will accept Russia's terms to reach this deal.
Abdul, thank you for the moment. Let's then speak to Major General Volodymyr Zelensky. He was the former Ukrainian Deputy Minister of Defence. You're very welcome back to the BBC. Thanks for speaking to us. Are you hopeful that something will come of this meeting today?
There are no any expectations or positive expectations from the outcome of this meeting, because it's a meeting of the two leaders or the two presidents. But at the same time, from Ukrainian side, it's about the people, it's about the parliament, it's about the civil society to decide what are the concessions or ideas in this resolution. Everybody in Ukraine, we understand that the main obstacle to any plan to resolve this conflict is Putin's maniacal unwillingness to compromise on the Ukrainian issue. He wants Ukraine to surrender. Any compromise is perceived by him as a personal political defeat. Only harsh realities can somehow affect his mental state. Such realities could be a difficult situation with the Russian economy or his permanent losses in this war. So we are very realistic about the position of Russia in this conflict.
When it comes to Donbass and the issues of territory, are there red lines that President Zelensky cannot cross?
Of course, everything which concerns territories is a red line for Ukrainian society here. So yes, there is a group of parliamentarians created to understand what could be kind of legal limitation to that kind of discussion at all. So, but nevertheless, it's only about the referendum, about the position of the people, of the civil society. But any kind of referendum requires a ceasefire. Ceasefire is a first step to any kind of discussions on the status or legal format of the territories. So Russia is not ready for ceasefire because for them, any ceasefire is just a change of the paradigm of the perception of this war.
You say they're not ready for a ceasefire. Yesterday, President Putin extended a ban on the export of petrol and diesel. And you've talked about the pressure on the Russian economy right now, which suggests that actually the drone attacks on some of the refineries is starting to have an effect. Do you think actually there might be an inclination in some quarters in Moscow to think more seriously about a negotiation?
The key things which can influence the mental state in Moscow, first of all, once again, is permanent losses on the ground and understanding that there is no military solution in this war. And because this war is more than a technological war, it means that it's really no military solution to this. And the second is the Russian economy, which is in decline now due to different reasons, including the Ukrainian long-range strikes to reduce Russian oil and refinery or military infrastructure. Everything together creates a lot of cracks, small cracks inside the Russian system. And sooner or later, it will lead to a kind of black swan event, we don't know which one, which contribute to the total problem, total disaster in Russia as a system.
As a retired Major General, you now work as an advisor to the military defence sector. If there wasn't to be an agreement, do you think it is possible for Ukraine to resist and to hold the line in Donbass?
Yes, thanks to a lot of innovations we have from our side. We have moved to the technological warfare. And so we have a parity and balance with Russia in terms of the combat capabilities. That's why we're confident that we can sustain this war, replacing people, replacing infantry with robotic systems, with unmanned systems on the ground. And we are supported by our partners with economy. Mm-hmm. So we have a guaranteed credit of payment for us for next 2 years from European Union. That's why we can sustain this technological war. Russia, they can't do it.
Major General, thank you for being with us again on the programme.